Go.
Hi folks, Willie Nelson here. Continuing on. The things that are most important here, we're talking about the formation of a dictatorship. A dictatorship, how could that possibly happen? We went into Rahm Emanuel and saying that you achieve things when you never thought you could achieve. What are potential crises that could bring about an instance in the United States? Well, economic collapse happens to be my favorite one, and it's the one that I use to illustrate my story, but wouldn't have to be. It could be an outbreak of a contagious disease, airborne disease. It could be a nuclear reactor accident. It could be a declaration of war. It could be an oil embargo where we don't get any crude oil to this country. It could be a chemical or biological attack. It could be a solar EMP or a nuclear electronic magnetic pulse, which basically cut off the electrical field and disrupted the electrical service in this country. Regardless, the outcome is always the same. You have a societal breakdown, no refrigeration, your money's no good, the ATMs don't work, people are ill, people can't get to work. The country doesn't function is basically what all these crisis scenarios happen. Well, what happens at that point? Well, obviously, the president has the ability through presidential directive to declare a martial law. With martial law, all your civil liberties are basically gone. Your Bill of Rights is basically gone. You're now subject to military court. Try appealing that one next time you think you've been wronged. But basically, you're at the whim of the government at this place. Whatever president, I'm not saying it's President Obama, it could have been President Bush, or it could be Hillary Clinton or someone in the future. Doesn't matter. They could actually suspend or repeal the 22nd Amendment, which is a 2-term limit. If you control the 3 equal branches of the House, the People's Congress, which is representative by the population of the country, if you control the Senate, 2 senators from each state, 100 state senators, and the executive branch of the government, the president, that triumvirate is the power structure. If they're all playing in concert with each other, you can get anything passed. You can repeal this, you can pass that, you can do whatever you can do. Kind of like Obama and what he's doing with Obamacare. Congress passed a certain version of it, but basically they've changed it on the fly. So now certain businesses are exempt, but the actual law said they were not. Well, how did they overcome that portion of the law? Pretty darn easy. The president took out the power of the pen and basically said, this is the new law. President wanted to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 for federal workers. Congress didn't really think that was a good idea. President takes out his pen. Federal workers' minimum wage is $10.10 an hour. It doesn't matter when you have one person unilaterally making decisions. When was the last time Congress authorized a war in the United States? Vietnam was a police action? The hostages in Iran under Jimmy Carter? What was that? It wasn't a war. Nobody voted on that. Iraqi war intervention under Bush? Syrian drone attacks under Obama? None of this is voted on anymore. Congress has abdicated its responsibility to vote and remember, Congress is authorizing or voting on behalf of we the people, but it's being left in the hands of the president. We do this, we do that. Congress is supposed to get a balanced budget submitted by the President of the United States. It's required in Congress, and it's under the Constitution. Has President Obama bothered to submit a budget to Congress, or has a budget been passed by Congress? Not for the last 5 years. Well, then how are we spending money we don't have? Who's making the rules up as to how much we're going to spend on what? And is it truly reflective and representative of the United States people? The clear and simple answer to that is no. One of the things I wanted to point out to you were the ABCs. You've got FEMA, the NSA, the DHS, the TSA, the DOD, the IRS, National, whatever it is, Oceanographic, Air and Water, Social Security, FCC, FAA, CDC, FDA. I like to call this stuff the alphabet soup. What do I mean by that? I mean that Washington, D.C., the federal government, is expanding, interfering more and more in people's lives through these agencies. And Wall Street is creating and reaping trillions of dollars which are going into the hands of the people who don't need the money. It's not going into the pockets. Look in your pockets. Has any of the trillions of dollars they made ending up in your pocket? Yeah, I don't think so. So what I'm saying is we have to do something in this country to take away the power from Washington, D.C. and Wall Street, which are out of control, and we need to bring that power back to the people of this country. Well, if you worked in Congress or you worked in the Senate and you were making or worth millions of dollars and you worked three days a week, would you be wanting to rock this system and change laws that might be beneficial to the people of the country? Or would you want to maintain the status quo? Because remember, you're in this 500, 600 person country club, which times are wonderful for them today. They don't care if that car costs $50,000 or $100,000. Money's irrelevant to them. So they are no longer representing the people. They represent themselves. They represent lobbyists. They represent power groups. But you can be sure that none of this is in the representation of you, your children, or your grandchildren. The consequences of this are going to be drastic, and I beg of the people to follow along, go to conspiracybeforetheact.com, read the story, click on the articles, click on the YouTube videos. You're going to hear in Barack Obama's words, Nancy Pelosi's words, Khrushchev's words. You're going to hear JFK. You're going to hear Rahm Emanuel. You're going to hear numerous people and the quotations that apply to this.